All right, so here it goes. All right, tell me a little bit about yourself, like your clinic career and what you do.
So I'm a pediatrician. I work at the University of Louisville at the Children's Hospital.
Okay.
I work on the inpatient side, so I only see kids when they're admitted to the hospitals. I don't do any private work.
Okay.
And I'm originally from New Jersey. I went to school down in Virginia. And then did my residency in South Carolina, and then just finished up last year, and now I'm out in Louisville.
Okay. All right, so let's begin with a couple questions. So why did you choose to become a pediatrician?
So I chose pediatrics because I knew I always wanted to be a doctor, but I just love working with kids. I think when you talk about medicine in general, when I was in med school, I got pretty frustrated with how adults they're pretty stuck in their ways. It's hard to change them. It's hard to see making any difference for these older people that have all these chronic illnesses, but kids you feel like you could really make, lasting impression, and so that's, really why I went into pediatrics more than anything.
Okay, cool. So what do you like most about being a pediatrician?
I think the thing that I like most about pediatrics is the fact that when you go to work, you can play with kids, you can interact with them, you can educate not only children but also their families, and you're dealing with such a wide variety of problems. It's not only the pediatric problems that you're dealing with, you're also dealing with adult problems that just happen in kids. So you kind of see the whole spectrum of things. So it always keeps you on your toes, and it's pretty enjoyable overall.
All right, okay. And I heard your residency is a little difficult. Mm-hmm. So how would you describe your residency? How was it?
So residency is pretty tough as far as from a work standpoint. It's a different framework in that you're not studying all the time like in school. You're literally just working the hardest job you'll ever work in your life. They changed some of the laws now, but when I was in residency, we were awake for 30 hours a day. We didn't sleep at night, you did call overnight, and you took care of patients the whole time, and it was pretty hectic. So it was a high stress level and a different sort of lifestyle to be accustomed to, but it's, and in the end, it's what you want to do, you'll stick through it.
That's nice, all right. So, I heard, pediatricians are, on and off the clock constantly. Mm-hmm. So what kind of hours do you usually work?
It all depends basically on what you want to do. So a private pediatrician that sees kids in the community, they can work usually about 4 to 5 days a week from 8 to 5. There's if you're part of a practice, a lot of times you have to stick around and finish up paperwork and things like that. But most of the time you have weekends off. Sometimes you'll have to take call, meaning by phone. If a patient or family calls, you have to be available. What I do is I work in an academic hospital, meaning it's a teaching hospital where I teach students and residents. So they're the ones taking care of all the patients at night. So thankfully I don't have to do that. So I work, I'm usually on service about 12 days a month, and the rest of the days I teach, and I do a bunch of academic work, research, things like that in the hospital.
Okay. And last question, are you satisfied with your job choice? Are you?
So medicine is I knew I always wanted to do pediatrics. I always knew that's what I wanted to do. But there's so many different realms in pediatrics. There's so many different realms in medicine in general. There's probably 15 to 20 different subspecialties in pediatrics alone.
Okay.
So you can do such a wide variety of things just in pediatrics. So someone who likes a lot of science can not even work with a child, just do research. Someone who likes a lot of, in-depth sick kids could just work in the ICU. Someone who, just wants to work with kids' kidneys can be a pediatric nephrologist. So there's so many different things I could do in pediatrics. But I'm very happy with my choice. I like the challenge of working with kids in the hospital. I'm not a huge fan of the everyday child checks where kids come to the office, and I think it's a challenge every day you go to work and you see things that other doctors just don't know what it is, so they admit them to the hospital and you have to try to figure out what it is.
Right.
It's it's like the TV shows that you watch and that's what's interesting to me.
All right, cool. Okay. All right, that's enough.